Thank you so much for coming to Secondary School Night and visiting the Thomas Jefferson School live stream. I'm Rick Eber, Director of Enrollment Management at Thomas Jefferson. I have several of my colleagues with me this evening, plus two of our current students. So without further delay, I'm going to ask our head of school, Dr. Troutman, to introduce everyone.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Secondary School Night. I'm Matthew Troutman, head of school here at TJ. I am very lucky to be with this amazing group of people. I'm going to use that adjective a couple more times here because we have with us tonight the amazing Mrs. Perroni, who's our Director of Middle School and Summer Programming, Mrs. Jane Roth, Associate Head of School and a graduate of the school as well, Carter Cashin, who is a current junior, entered in 7th grade, so has lots of TJ experience. And Greta Stuckey, who's current 8th grader, also with gaining that experience currently as she joined in 7th grade last year. So I like to start by talking about what drives us at TJ, and that's the mission. All schools really look to their mission to be their guiding principle for every decision that they make. And I think our mission, it's really something unique. First off, we talk about this idea for the strongest possible college prep program within a nurturing community. I realize that I'm saying all the bolded words as you're reading them. I'm just trying to highlight along the way. But at the end, there's a part that's not bolded. That's actually my favorite part of the mission. And that's we instill a desire for our students to lift up the world with beauty and intellect. And what that looks like is different, but I'll just share a quick moment that I had about 5 minutes ago before this presentation, going downstairs and listening to two different students essentially compete for who could be the loudest in terms of singing or playing the piano. And it was just a wonderful moment at 7 o'clock at night to hear such joy coming out of the common room. At the bottom of the screen, we have what I'm also very proud of. What we're proud of here is we're incredibly highly rated for boarding schools and as independent schools in the state of Missouri. A little bit more about some of the details here. So these are some quick numbers about TJ. You'll notice a few things. One is size. We are intentionally small. 2 is diversity. We have about a third of our students coming from other countries. And on the right side, you see that our students are ready when they leave TJ to take on whatever they want to approach in college. So what it looks like is students are confident and curious. Students are curious to take on different fields. I think we have maybe the most number of graduates who are double majors or at least with a minor that's not related to their major. And they're confident that they can achieve whatever they want in these different fields because of the background and the foundation that we've given here at TJ. But you don't want to hear from me. You want to hear from the other voices in the room, and particularly our students. So I'm going to give it back to Mr. Eber to talk about our roadmap for today.
Our goal is to give you a sense of what distinguishes TJ from other schools you're learning about tonight. And here are 3 examples. 1, the kind of student we are built to serve. 2, the unique academic program our students experience every day at TJ. And 3, how our program is designed to build the kind of independence, personal responsibility, resilience, and leadership skills that students will need to succeed at TJ at the next level of their education and as adults.
So who are our students? To us, what sets TJ apart is what our students are asked to learn and how we ask them to go about learning it. But to make that magic happen, we have to have the right kind of student. So who is that student who is attracted to TJ's particular program? And what are we able to turn that raw talent into over the course of the TJ program? So first, it's important to know that we are a school built for high ability learners. These are students who are curious to the core. They like to learn. They love to read generally. They like to figure out how things work. They're typically very strong academically in their current environment, but they often describe being hungry for more challenge, or being eager to be around students who are just as excited about learning as they are. They tend to be very comfortable with adults and talking to adults. They love to share, whatever the information they've found out about, when they've gone down their latest rabbit hole of discovery. And many students in their previous environments have been are used to being told that they're the smartest kids in the room. And when they arrive at TJ, there is this sense of joy and even relief at being surrounded by people who are just as excited about learning as they are.
So the question is then, who do we who comes out on the other end of the school? And one thing that sticks out to me is that we take ownership of our learning because we have learned how to learn. I know what it feels like to sit in a classroom and think really hard about a topic, or a book we're reading in English, or a math problem that I'm just not understanding. And we know what it feels like to work hard and learn and how to do that. Also, we'll talk about this more later, I'm sure, but we explore in depth things that we might not want to always have. We might not have chosen, given complete freedom. So, for instance, I am currently in AP biology. I'm sorry, Mrs. Peroni, if this hurts your feelings. She's my wonderful AP biology teacher. But I'm not a science guy. But I had to take an AP science class, and I really didn't want to take physics, and I really didn't want to take AP chem. And so that left me with one option, which is AP bio. But I really enjoyed it this year. And so far this year, I should say. But that's not something I would have gotten. But I'm still being, really challenged in a class like this. But that's what we're looking for. As a result of that, we're all really independent thinkers. We know how to hold our own in a discussion. We know how we learn, and what works best for us. Challenging sessions. That's right. And we take ownership of the community that we're in. We when I remember when I was in 7th grade and I first joined the school newspaper, and I sat there in like the back of this room where they were all talking about school newspaper stuff. And I saw the people leading the meeting. And there's students leading the meeting. I thought, wow, they're so good at leading school newspaper meetings. And now, a few years later, I've risen, and I'm actually the editor of the newspaper. But it's a club that I cared about, and that I put a lot of work into over the years. And so we have those opportunities to lead and to think hard and to work hard. I think that's something really special at the school.
Thanks, Carter. Biology, the verbal science. So how do we make that magic happen that Carter just described? Well, we have to do it by thinking very intentionally about how the pieces of our program, the curriculum, the classroom experience, the daily schedule, the composition of the student body, how those things combine to create the sort of person that Carter just described, with those intellectual and leadership skills and personal confidence. And of course, since the curriculum speaks to the school part of school, it is at the heart of what we mean when we describe in our mission giving our students the strongest possible college preparatory experience. So to us, that means that the academic foundation that they get here at TJ has to be a springboard to whatever they want to do when they get off to the next stage of their education. So we believe in grounding our students in the fundamental college preparatory areas of English, math, science, language, both classical and modern languages, social studies, and art every year. And there are not a lot of electives until they reach the upper grades, 11th and 12th, because we're building that foundation. And then, as Carter described, he was made to do something that he thought was hard. He received foundational classes in all three hard sciences. I guess, Carter, you thought biology was the best of the difficult options.
Well, it wasn't physics, which is the
and I imagine that you are proving to yourself, every day that you can do this hard thing that you've been asked to take on. I think that's the experience that a lot of students find. I'll let Mrs. Peroni speak to how that core curriculum works and the sort of advantages it creates for the students.
I have to admit, I did trick Carter a little bit. I think in accelerated bio, we did a fair amount of bioethics. So probably felt like he was getting into something a little different than what he got now that he's in AP bio, but he loves it, I'm sure. Okay, so back to the core. Let me tell you a little bit about what that means to us, rather what it creates here at TJ. By core, we mean this sort of shared experience that kids have going through our school. They all take Latin their 7th and 8th grade year, Greek their 9th and 10th, junior and senior year, they get a little more of a choice. And that's true in all of the disciplines. But what this creates is this shared experience across the student body. So something that helps build community, since students also become resources to one another when they have questions. So it wouldn't be, uncommon to see a junior or a senior sitting with like a 7th and 8th grader and helping them out. I've been actually really excited to see the relationships forming this year between our oldest students and our younger students. And they tease each other and hang out. And there's a lot of academics that goes on there, and empathy and understanding. They all share the same teachers. They have covered the same material. And they are all sort of building this sense of responsibility. And then they're all ready for the APs by the time they get there, even if they don't love science, they're ready for AP biology. Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Roth, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was muted. I was going to say, and it is the case that our students go through the AP level by the time they are seniors. They will have 2 English APs under their belt. Everybody goes through the AP level in math, social studies, science, and the modern language classes they take are the equivalent of introductory and intermediate college level language courses. So it's a meaty curriculum. It's a lot of fun too. Thanks, Greta.
All right, so what happens in the classroom? Well, the first thing that you will notice in a TJ classroom is that it's extremely high energy and discussion based. The students actually help the shape and the flow of the discussion or the class, which I find is really cool as a TJ student. Students are eager to learn. One of my classmates always shoots his hands up into the sky the minute a teacher starts talking. He's just like, I know the answer. And a couple of days ago, I heard him first say, I don't know. He did not know the answer. And once he learned it, he could not keep on repeating it. He told everyone during the study halls. But yeah, it's really a fun thing to see how curious students are to learn and how safe and comfortable everyone is sharing their opinions, their perspectives on the discussion. We can even have open discussions where students don't have to raise their hands because they know boundaries and they respect people's talking times. So it's really fun to see everyone engaged and talkative during classroom time.
Okay, so daily schedule. For taking a look at what's happening in the classroom, let's sort of look at that, take a step back and look at how that happens all together. The daily schedule is really intentionally designed to promote responsibility, to build time management skills, and to foster independence in age-appropriate ways. Our classes are pretty short. We have 35-minute classes, and that is meant to make the most of our classroom time, but also to sort of maximize that out of classroom time and what that means, and to use that time just as intentionally as we use our in-class time. So what does that mean? As the director of middle school, part of what I do is work with the 7th and 8th graders to provide a little bit more structure during that time. So we have some study halls. We have prep period where we do some sort of study hall stuff, but also some material. And they still also have free periods. But that structure is meant to really teach them how to manage their free time. And then as they get older, they get more and more freedom where they get to make the decision, right? And as advisors, teachers, we're the safety net. So they're getting to manage their own time and make decisions, and we're helping to guide them and advise them. And then by the time they graduate, they know how to manage free time. They know when it's appropriate to take a mental break, how much time they need for sort of their health and well-being, how much time they need to devote to a subject to reach a certain goal. They're excellent at managing free time. I also mentioned sort of fostering independence and personal responsibility. At our school, the day students and the boarders, they share dorm space. So by the time you're in 8th grade, you get a dorm room, and they have a desk in that room, and the boarders live there. And so they have that personal responsibility. What does it mean to sort of negotiate sharing a space with another human being and keeping clean? Greta's a day student. She's sitting in her dorm right now. And so by the time our kids go off to college, it's not just about knowing when to study, but also having success, being independent and living on your own and taking care of yourself.
So what is the community like at TJ? Well, the community at TJ is really small, and that really helps people feel known and feel comfortable in the environment that they are in. They can express themselves freely and find other students that have the same interests that they are, and really establish strong bonds between students, no matter what age. As Mrs. Proney was saying, you can see 7th and 8th graders hanging out with juniors and seniors in the halls. Freshmen and sophomores, they'll hang out too occasionally, but sometimes they just do their own thing. And then this community really helps quiet students turn into leaders, and those students can then help quieter students turn into those leaders in the future. So everyone is just so special. It's just such a special community. So Carter, tell us, how has the size of TJ figured into your experience with the non-academic side of TJ? Take it away.
Well, thanks for that question, Greta. I appreciate it. Look, I think is a good example. Just looking at that picture there are people from St. Louis, from St. Louis County, from China, from Mexico, and there seems to be an Albanian that was rudely cut off halfway through the picture. So but the point being, we are a very diverse a group of students, and I value that deeply. I mean, since 7th grade, one of my best friends has been a kid, boy named Alex from South Korea. I guess not a boy, young man now is what you prefer. From South Korea, and he's been one of my best friends, and I would never, of course, met anyone like him had I been. Well, there's no one else like him. So, but I never met anyone remotely like him. If I had gone to another school, and the international community, has so many wonderful, brings so many diverse backgrounds that really help, I think, in education. But the concern I hear a lot from prospective students is, oh, it's like 80 some odd kids. Isn't that super small? Aren't I not going to know anyone and have no friends? And I tell them no, because I say it is the largest single community, because we all know each other really well. Like Greta mentioned, we hang out with each other. There are all sorts of leadership opportunities because we're small, but we have like a lot of clubs and student organizations. And so there are leadership opportunities there. There's so many ways to get to know people. People from all sorts of different grades. I remember when I was in 7th grade, I would spend tons of time with the then freshmen, and we became all really close friends. And that's just not something you get at other schools. And people who I might not think I would have liked very much just turn out to be my greatest friends. So there's a lot of socialization there. Another smaller unit within the community is our advisory groups. From your first day at TJ, you are assigned an advisor who is a faculty member. There are also, and the advisory is about 6 or 7 students from all different grades and all different backgrounds. And that's kind of your like really close family. Mrs. Rothier is my advisor. I go to her office plenty to just, complain or vent or ask for assistance on homework. And we spend a lot of time together, and I know her really well. I'd like to think maybe she's hiding stuff from me that I don't know. But that's like another core part of your experience, another support structure at TJ.
So I'll jump in and add a little bit about advisory. I think one of the hallmarks of TJ is all of the adults here have a lot of one-on-one time, a lot of quality time with the students. We know our students really well. And the students we teach, the students we don't teach, but then that's especially true of our advisories. Greta's my advisee. Just point out her comment there because we're a pretty great advisory. We only meet once a week. We meet on Thursdays, but it's so much more than that. Carter says it's our little family within a bigger family. We offer guidance. I just enjoy spending time with Greta and hearing all of her interesting stories. But in addition to that piece that happens between the advisor and the student, we're also the point person for parent contact. So there's a lot of really regular changes of information that happen between the advisor and the parent. So that might be great updates, but it might be something more significant, like a text message that said, hey, your student looked a little sad today. Is there anything going on? Or sharing a moment, maybe, a little snapshot I took of Greta playing hide and seek with the juniors. So it can be big, it can be small, but it's that connection, and it sort of extends our community outside of the walls of the school, and everyone's really involved in bringing up these students. And then for our boarders, it can mean an entirely different thing. In addition to that communication, sort of the on-campus parents and that communication becomes increasingly important. So I love my advisees. I mean, if there's one thing I want you to get out of this whole presentation, it's that the students here are incredible. They make our school what it is. Like the fact that Greta and Carter are here talking to you guys, and Greta can jump in and say, Mrs. Roth, I think you were trying to say something. I mean, that's pretty cool. They're really independent, incredible kids.
Yeah, I think as another example of that, the in-between times when we're not presenting, we're just chatting, and then the time just kind of keeps flying by, and we say, oh, we should probably get ready for the next session here. So I feel incredibly lucky to be in this environment with these students, these faculty and staff, this community of parents, and just this great support. So to kind of wrap things up, Mrs. Roth asked the question of how do we make the magic happen? And I think it's a combination of having these curious and confident students, the students that want to learn. We challenge them a lot with our curriculum and getting to know them in a way that we know how to push students. And then we do that in a supportive environment. So we have high expectations and just as high of support for each other. And it's not just teachers or staff to students, it's students to students. So we see this growth over time, and alumni go on and say two things. I hear two things consistently from alumni. One is that first, college was easy. It felt like TJ 2.0. And then second, most of our alumni point back to TJ as the formative experience in their life, bigger than their college, bigger than their first job, their career, if they ran a business. Interestingly enough, we hear a lot that they try and recreate the environment that they felt here at TJ. And so I think we have found something that's really special here. And I just feel incredibly lucky to be part of this community. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Eber to talk about the important aspects of things like how do you learn more about this special place?
First of all, I would like to thank everyone for taking time out of your evening to be with us. But also, if you would like to learn additional information about our school, please click on tjs.org, where you'll find out how to inquire, how to apply, and how to schedule a campus visit. And the campus or the application deadline is January 12th. So please, you can start your applications now. If you have any questions, please contact me. So on behalf of my amazing colleagues and our amazing students, we thank you for being part of our evening.
Oh.
Oh yeah, Carter, did you share that one?
Oh no.
Show us how that's been edited.
I think I've shown most of you. individually. Oh wait, you can't see it. Hold on. Oh, there. There you go.
Is that what you were working on in Maine?
It is what I was working on.